Hey everybody, and welcome to Don't Copy That Floppy.
Am I supposed to... Oh. I'm your host, Dan.
And I'm your other host, Lex. Sorry,
We did it in a different order. I was confused. I didn't know I was supposed to talk yet. We're a weekly video game news podcast, broadcasting on chipbit.net. We are also on a bunch of different social media, like Facebook, Twitter. We're on YouTube. We are on iTunes. We have an archive there. And we're on Steam. We're Don't Copy That Floppy at all of those places, except for Twitter, where we are at DCTF Podcast.
Yeah, check us out. We post a lot of the articles that we talk about on the show on Facebook and Twitter.
Yep. We broadcast every Friday from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we do it live.
Yeah.
We're doing it live.
And we have a show archive that is usually not up to date.
And usually not live.
That's true.
Typically. So, we just talk about video game news, what's going on in the video game industry, new game releases, Kickstarters, that sort of thing.
We do like to talk about Kickstarters. We didn't get to last week, I don't think.
No, I don't know if we did the week before that either.
But we have two Kickstarters to talk about this week.
Yes, indeed you do. One is pretty awesome. I don't know what the other one is, actually.
Oh, the other one is, I will show you right now, Dan, but not tell our videos.
Oh, yes.
Our viewers. In terms of other stuff we're talking about, we have some revivals of old TV shows. We've got a couple articles from last week I wanted to touch on that have to do with the new Batman game.
We have a fair amount of Oculus Rift news.
Yeah, and a fair amount of Nintendo news.
Yes.
Quite a few of those stories.
We always have a bunch of Nintendo news.
They do directs like all the time.
Yeah, constantly. We have some stuff about Sega and about E3. Then just some stuff about other upcoming games that have been announced.
Yeah, some little odds and ends of teased news on different games and things. Oh, and a really interesting story about
The Witcher
3.
Yeah, this was interesting. And then we usually end off with just talking about what games are coming out in the next week or two.
Yep.
That are worth your attention. Sometimes we do game reviews. We haven't in a while, mostly because we haven't had time.
Yeah, we usually just have enough news to carry us through.
If we ever have time to kill, though, you might hear us do little quick game reviews of what we've been playing. So let's get started with this Kickstarter. Why don't you take us into that one?
Oh, man. Do you like Rare games?
I used to.
Did you like Banjo-Kazooie?
I also like Banjo-Tooie.
And Banjo-Tooie, but not the one where they have vehicles. That was dumb.
Not particularly, no.
Do you like games with animals that are named after instruments?
Sure.
Yeah, then Ukulele is the game for you. No, but seriously, this is a spiritual successor to Banjo-Kazooie.
It's pretty much just Banjo-Kazooie with different characters.
Yeah, it's the same people who worked at Rare and made Banjo-Kazooie are making this, and they're a new company called Playtonic Games because someone else owns Rare.
So this was a Kickstarter that was supposed to be... This was a 60-day.
Which is uncommon. Usually they're only a month. And they weren't asking for too much either. For one thing,
$270,000.
Yeah, which astounded me because they show gameplay footage and it looks like a polished, nice game. Yeah,
they put together a real good little demo reel.
It also looks exactly like Banjo-Kazooie in almost every way.
Good.
It's got, I guess, kind of an Aztec-y theme, but it's like jungle, and the characters are a chameleon and a bat.
Which one's the girl and which one's the guy this time? Is the chameleon the girl?
I don't know.
I don't know, because Kazooie was a girl, the bird.
Oh my god.
So I'm assuming they're still doing, like, the girl-guy team.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're mixing it up this time, and having the little flappy one be the guy. But, so the game was, they were asking for $270,000.
Which is not much to make a title that looks this good.
Blew past that goal in the first day.
Oh, totally.
In the first 12 hours, even. They're up to, with 39 days left, they are up to $2,247,000.
Oh my god.
How about them stretch goals?
Yeah, what were some of the stretch goals? Let's take a look.
I don't know.
I don't remember where they are on this list. Oh, I will...
Like, this is one of the nicest looking Kickstarter games I've ever seen. Like, visually speaking.
No, totally.
Like, it looks great. Like...
And the fact that we got to see the gameplay footage. It was...
Oh, and they got Grant Kirkhope back to work on the music as well?
Yeah.
Just like in all those old games? Oh god, so many stretch goals already blown past.
This is going to be released for PC, Mac, and Linux.
And Linux.
It's going to have...
unique bosses for every single level.
and special music for those bosses. It's going to have pre-final boss quiz show challenge levels.
So here's what it seems like to me reading some of these. Transformations into unexpected things, that's just like Banjo-Kazooie. It seems like they had a very minimal goal.
Yeah.
For like, we can do this and we will put the game out. But all of these stretch goals seem like things we would want in the game.
Yeah, like more bosses, game modes, more music, levels.
More levels, things like that. So they were like, we can release the game as like a bare bones thing for this amount of money, but they have so many stretch goals at so many different iterations of like money that it's clear they were hoping they would get X amount more, and it makes more sense seeing these. Like, yeah, they would need this much more money to have this in the game, like, to feasibly add that stuff.
A mix of 2.5D and 3D minecart sections.
Good.
Amazing. Local co-op. Amazing. 2 to 4 player local multiplayer versus mode.
With 4 different games.
Translations in lots of different European languages.
Plus extra languages voted by backers. Exclusive character designs from X-Rare guest artists. 4 more local multiplayer games, simultaneous day one releases on Wii U, Xbox One, and PlayStation 4.
Hot diggity.
An N64 shader mode.
Amazing.
It's amazing. And developer walkthrough and commentary video was like the final thing. But then it looks like they added even another thing.
Oh yeah, because their stretch goals only went up to 1,200,000.
And then they blew so far past that now
they made another one.
1.5 million. I mean, this is in euros also.
Oh, that's true, yeah. Okay.
1.5 million to do an orchestral score, which they've hit now. And they say a little asterisk, additional funding also helps us continue to polish the game to the nth degree. So basically, keep giving them money and the game will be better. Like, they'll have more time and, like, resources to work on it. And then they have, individual backer rewards and everything like that as well. This is awesome. I'm so happy about this.
Well, it's funny because it's one of those things where Kickstarter demonstrates that people obviously want to see this game that game companies just refuse to make because they think people don't want to see it.
Yeah.
Because even when they made
the
newest...
people don't want to see it, to be fair. Some of these old games that people are like, oh my god, I want it back, they come back and nobody cares.
Night Trap.
But seriously.
But no, because when they made the newest version of Banjo-Kazooie, you can tell, because it wasn't like a Banjo-Kazooie game other than the characters, and you could tell that it was like the production company was saying like, hey, you need to make it a different kind of game because your old model of game will not sell.
Microsoft.
Yeah.
Microsoft were the owners at that point, and they were just like, you need to make it this way because people don't want platformer collectathon adventure games anymore.
But it turns out 44,686 people totally do want this.
And are willing to give over $2 million to get it.
Yes.
I see this at least breaking $3 million before it's done.
Probably.
I would guess. Given how much time they've got left. I think it's funny that they basically just made Banjo-Kazooie.
You watch the footage, it's exactly
like
the
they
same.
literally were just like, we can't get the rights to Banjo-Kazooie. Let's just change the name and the characters and make the exact same game.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. That's good. Yep. I have no problem with that at all. So here's our other one, though.
So this was, I had read about this in an article from the AV Club from the 6th, from May 6th. Do you remember Nintendo Arcade?
You mean Nick Arcade?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Nickelodeon Arcade.
If only it was Nintendo Arcade.
It probably would have been a better show.
Yeah, totally. Nickelodeon Arcade.
I do.
Yeah, from 1993.
Something like that. Oh God, do I remember this show? When I was a little kid, I thought this show was the coolest thing ever because they went into the video game.
Whoa!
It was the cutting edge of virtual reality technology.
Really?
When actually it was just kids standing in front of a green screen and waving their arms around and hoping that the arbitrary rules of whatever projector they had on them were letting them win the game. Like, you watch clips of this now and it's just a bunch of children being confused.
I went back and watched an episode of the show because I was like, I remember
I've watched like
vaguely
highlight
watching
reels and stuff of it.
That show was so confusing.
It was maddening
because they had all these different.
The host is that super obnoxious, like, "Hey, everybody, come on down!" Whoa, yeah. It's like, no, stop.
You wore amazing '90s sweaters.
And they ask the kids like the most basic trivia questions, and the kids are just like horrifyingly nervous. through the whole thing, so they're just getting the stupidest things wrong.
Well, okay, so I was watching an episode. This is how it broke down. It started with a game of basically Pong, even though it wasn't called Pong. It was like spaceship themed. Yeah. It started with a game of Pong to figure out which team would go first.
Right.
Then it went into this weird thing where there's a map and there's a guy on the map, and your team
have to guide him.
Yeah, your team decides what square he walks to, and then
random things happen.
Random things happen, like either trivia questions that have nothing to do with video games. No. Like, one of them was asking them about Supreme Court justices.
Yeah.
It was like, how would kids know that? These
kids are 9.
But then the kids knew it, like, immediately, and I was like, wait.
Huh?
What?
Are you serious?
There was one about Iraq that was a random trivia question, and I was just like, this is so weird.
So...
And then there's the things where they actually go and would play cabinet games, and they would pick from games that were popular at the time, like Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
And then there was the ending bit where they go into the weird virtual reality thing. So it's like that show was all over the place.
It was nuts.
Made no sense.
Like dry ice steam shooting everywhere and like alarms going off.
As any Nickelodeon show at the time, let's be fair.
I mean, yeah, it did not have much slime.
No, it didn't.
Didn't have a lot of slime.
That's too bad.
So there's a Kickstarter.
Yeah, the original creators of this show decided, hey, with things like the Oculus Rift, we could do a game show with virtual reality segments that actually like go down like they were supposed to in the 90s show.
In theory.
So they were like, let's reboot this show. So
they're trying to.
They're not going to succeed.
We got 26 days to go on this Kickstarter. It has made about $2,000 of its $350,000 goal.
Yeah.
It doesn't really grab you when you click it. It says nth level by nth level. And I don't know what's going on in this little picture here on the video, but it doesn't really make me want to watch the video.
No.
It looks like one of those old game design commercials. Like, you got to tighten up the graphics on level 4. Thanks, guys. Wow, testing video games for a living is awesome. But it's not, actually. That's what it looks like.
It is a lot like that.
Oh, God, these characters are the worst.
So one of the things that they knew how to do that I give them a lot of credit for, and actually just sort of demonstrates that they're never going to get any funding, is they went to major publications to have stories written about their Kickstarter campaign when it first launched earlier this week. So they went to Entertainment Weekly, they went to Destructoid.
Yeah, there's lots of articles about this everywhere.
Yeah, and it got like a ton of pretty good press. Like even the AV Club article, like they hadn't directly gone to AV Club, but AV Club was still like, yeah, I mean, this could be cool.
Yeah.
Which is like an extremely generous thing to say given that when you watch the campaign video. But even given all of that press, so far in the last 4 days they've gotten only 29 backers.
I mean,
which is like nothing.
It may be mean to say, but I wouldn't back it.
No, I wouldn't back it either. Please don't. Go back ukulele, but
go back ukulele instead.
Their whole thing is they want it to represent cutting edge video game stuff, but then when you watch their 3D renders of like characters,
what part of this is cutting edge? Is Clay Vampire Man the cutting edge character?
They're characters that look like you would see on. I mean, they look good for the original Xbox.
This looks like the stuff that Mainframe Entertainment was putting out in the 90s.
They do look totally like they could be on Reboot
or Beast Wars, or something, or Beasties for our Canadian listeners.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
in case you don't know. But it looks like something you'd see from that. And then you have the guy from Star Wars: The Clone Wars, right there.
Yeah,
it's Commander Cody. This does not look good.
It's a disaster.
It's a mess. I mean, you can go look at it if you want, but you won't be happy.
This all being said, I do kind of wish there was more kids' game shows like that, especially on Nickelodeon.
They're fun.
Did they ever resurrect Secrets of the Hidden Temple?
Oh no, God no.
Because that would be great.
Yeah. Get that Silver Monkey put together.
Yeah.
It's tough.
But not Nickelodeon Arcade, please.
I'm surprised none of those Temple Guard guys got punched more often by the kids. They were scary.
They were scary.
The immediate reaction, just be like, no! And hit him in the face. Maybe the masks were padded. But, I like the idea of, like, let's bring this show back because video games have come so far.
Mm-hmm.
Let's bring this all back. Execution quality is just not here.
It's not at all.
At all.
Also,
and this is sad, too, because, like, I mean, we had G4 as a gaming network for a while. It's no longer on. But it had, like, game show competitions where they played video games against each other.
That's true, yeah.
It did. It didn't have, like, trivia in the middle. It was just, like, game competition.
It wasn't horribly confusing and for 9-year-olds.
They had a show called Arena that was just like, everybody's gonna play Mechasoul. And they played Mechasoul, or whatever other game was sponsoring the show at that time.
Which, before Twitch, seems like that something people would watch.
Yeah, so in my other question, was this supposed to be on Nickelodeon again? Where was this gonna be aired?
Well, okay, this is a caveat to this. I was looking at their funding levels, right?
Yeah.
So the $350,000 main goal is just to make a pilot that they could shop to networks.
Oh no!
So it wouldn't even guarantee that it would ever see the light of day on television if it was funded. If they raised over $1 million,
they need almost $3 million to get a whole season.
Oh no, I'm sorry. It was $350,000 to make a presentation reel, not even a pilot. Over $1 million to make a pilot to shop at networks.
And almost $3 million to make a full season.
Yeah. So
that's rough.
So even if they met their regular goal, there was like so little chance. I shouldn't say was, because obviously their campaign is still basically beginning. Yeah. I just don't think it's going to get funded, so I'm kind of talking about it in the past tense.
Yeah.
But yeah, so even if they do make their their main goal, they're still in a very fishy situation as to whether the show will actually come back.
Which isn't a good endorsement for your Kickstarter.
No,
either.
Not at all.
It's like, you give us money, if we make $350,000, nothing might happen.
Nothing might happen.
Like, it's not good.
But we'll have already spent your money to make the presentation reel, so we can't refund it.
For nothing.
Yep.
Great.
Yeah.
It's no wonder that they're not going to make it.
Yeah, I would avoid this.
Unfortunately.
Talk about a little bit of news from last week real quick.
Yeah, we had 2 articles from last week. One actually segues nicely into some stuff from this week.
That's true. So the first article from April 28th from Polygon, is about the Batman Arkham Knight game that's coming out late next month, I believe.
Yeah, something like that.
June 23rd.
It's very soon.
And it's Season Pass.
Yes, so lots of games have done Season Passes lately. Basically, you pay a little less for the old DLC. You're pre-buying all the DLC and usually end up paying $5 or $10 less than the whole lump sum. So this game, right from the get-go, you're buying a $60 game, and they've already said there's going to be a season pass.
And it's going to be $40.
It's going to be $40, and it's going to get you all the DLC. Some of the DLC in this is pretty, like, major stuff. Like whole story missions.
And
supervillains.
As introducing Batgirl and having her own missions.
Yeah. There's a lot of, like, pretty big things.
And also some things that are... the things that I would more expect as DLC that are, like, fun add-ons. Yeah. Like, there's a Batmobile racing thing.
Right.
That just sounds like a fun little thing.
Yeah. But this is going to be $40 on top of your $60 game. Which is arguably means you're paying $100 up front to get this full game.
Now, what people will often do to avoid paying so much is to buy a premium edition, which includes the Season Pass and the main game.
Yes.
And you can buy that, but that costs $100.
You save nothing.
So you save no money.
If you want the full experience of this game, you are paying $100. Period.
And it's so irksome because... I think it irks me the most because you can buy the Season Pass day one.
Yeah. Well, the way they're selling it's so brazen. It's just like, yeah, you gotta give us $100 if you want the full game. Mm-hmm. Sorry. That's it.
And one of the things...
They're not even, like, trying to hide it.
And when this game, like, they're obviously making the argument that, like, hey, we're making all this extra stuff.
Why isn't it just worth more money? Game?
Well, as they could, and probably are saying, is, it's a full game, but then we had other teams on this extra stuff. When this game comes out, we'll know if that's true or not. Like, if this is a 10-hour game without the Season Pass, it's like, okay, they obviously cut a bunch of content to put it into a Season Pass.
The thing is, a lot of times you can tell that content has been cut in situations like these.
And because of this news story, and the fact that they were so brazen in their pricing, people are going to be looking out for that.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as this game comes out, that's what people are going to be...
They're not going to be able to hide it if they did do that. And I think it's completely reasonable to suspect them of that, too. Because 99% of the time that this has happened in the past, that's been the case.
Totally.
Like, it's not like this is people just being paranoid for no reason. This happens all the time nowadays with these sorts of things. So, I think everybody is biased at this point into thinking, yeah, they've removed content to sell it to us later for more. Whether that's true or not, we don't know, but signs point to yes, basically.
There's actually a fun thing at the end of this article that's a poll that's saying, like, would you buy the Season Pass for $40? And the choices are absolutely not. Or absolutely, I'll take all the bats I can get. No thank you, this is insane, I'm fine with the main game. Maybe, but only after the content is out and I see what I'm getting. This has actually made me decide not to buy the game in the first place, yuck. And the final option, I'd never buy a game about Batman, also I am the Joker.
I think the Joker would buy a game about Batman.
He loves him.
He loves Batman.
In a weird way.
And he would just make Batman do terrible things while he was playing the game.
So, let me point out that 17,000 people have voted on this.
Yeah, let's see what the results here are.
I looked at them earlier.
I hadn't actually seen them yet.
This is having the result that I actually hoped it would have, at least according to this viewer poll on Polygon. 7% say, absolutely, I'll buy all the stuff.
Yeah.
The $100 of stuff. 28% says...
I'll buy just the game.
Just the main game. 27% says, I'll wait till all the content comes out, see if it's worth my time. And a majority... 34% says, I'm not going to buy this game at all because this whole thing has turned me off.
Yeah.
And then 3% say, I'm the Joker.
Yeah, they don't like Batman.
Yeah. So I'm actually really glad that that's how people are responding to this.
I am too. The sad thing is, I have a hunch that a lot of those people who say, I'm fine with the main game, and a lot of those people who say, I'll see what I'm getting, are going to end up buying it. The DLC.
They'll break down eventually. I'm also wondering...
I see that happening.
I'm also wondering what this poll would look like if it was on IGN or GameSpot.
Instead of Polygon.
Because Polygon's readers are a little more savvy, let me just say.
Whoa. You're going to start some flame wars here?
If this poll was on Kotaku, there would just be another answer that says Batman is racist.
I mean, if you're a big IGN fan, go on our Twitter and yell at us about that, but just try not to get dirt everywhere. If you're an unwashed plebeian who frequents GameSpot.
So the other story from last week is a story about Oculus Rift, which is going to segue into the other crazy, not crazy, but cool Oculus news
cool Oculus Rift news.
So from April 28th, from Polygon, there was a story about how Oculus has hired Valve's Anna Sweet and the ex-Google display head, Mary Lou Jepsen? That's how you pronounce it? Okay.
I think.
And this is very cool because these people are just really renowned in their communities.
Innovative in these fields of, like, creating electronic displays and programs and things like that.
Jepsen was honored as one of the 100 most influential people in the world by Time Magazine, which is kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
And she's responsible, you've probably heard of this, for the One Laptop Per Child initiative. Yep. And one of the things she talks about she's bringing to this is the idea, because her whole idea with One Laptop Per Child is so that everyone could have access to a computer.
Yeah.
And with this, she's bringing that same mentality where she wants Oculus to be as affordable as possible so that as many people as possible can have access to virtual reality, since she sees it as some, or I don't want to say many, but as some do, as the wave of the future in terms of gaming and other things.
And she was the head of the display division at Google X, which is their, like, working facility for, like, really high-end stuff.
Yeah.
That they're working on. So,
And Anna Sweet worked at Valve for 6 years.
In business development. Which Oculus as a company could probably use. So.
And I mean, Valve, they do business
Their
like
business
no
has
other.
been quite developed.
Yeah.
So, she did something right. So she wants she's there to kind of bring their whole business together and find what they want to do with this product and figure out where they can take it, more or less. Make their company more than just the guys selling the VR headsets. it would seem. Which comes right before a really exciting news from this week.
On May 6th, news dropped on Oculus's site, I guess.
We've run out of something to talk about. We can't talk about this anymore because Oculus Rift has a release date.
Well, not an exact date.
But it sort of does.
It has a release window.
Yeah. So I guess we can kind of still talk about it.
Q1 2016 is when Oculus Rift will be coming to the market.
You heard it here. January, February, or March. Or bust.
Or bust.
Yeah, let's get it.
It might get delayed, but probably not.
One of the executives of the company tweeted it.
Oh, and they posted a whole big thing on their blog, on their website, which you can go and check out. Again, this was May 6th that this was posted. And specifically, we're checking out an article from BuzzFeed from the 6th that just reports on that.
I mean, when this finally comes out, it'll be exciting to see how it is received.
Because,
this article even mentions, past attempts at virtual reality haven't exactly gone over well, but they also didn't work particularly well.
But the Game Gear was amazing.
Yeah, if you want
No, not that. The Virtual Boy, yes.
Yeah, if you wanted to, burn your fucking brain out of your head. You're wearing, a 10-pound helmet. That's front-weighted.
That could play, 5 games.
Terrible vector games.
Yeah.
In red and black.
Just red and black.
Oh, God.
Although Mario Tennis on that, listen, it's pretty fun.
Okay.
I played
for 5 minutes.
For 5 minutes. Yeah, until you get really uncomfortable, either because your eyes hurt or because you have this huge thing on your head.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is great. There was actually a little article I found from Polygon from the 6th as well that's talking a little about this. And they were interviewing some of who's the head of the company? Carmack, I believe?
John Carmack, yeah.
Yeah, about it. And they asked him a bunch of different questions because he had just announced it was going to come out. And one of the things they asked was pricing. And he would not tell them a specific price. But he did say that the Gear VR, which I guess is out or about to come out, is $200. Okay. And he said it was going to be a little more expensive than that. So I'm guessing it's going to be a $250 to $300 price tag.
I was going to say, I am guessing $300. Even though he said a little bit more expensive.
Which I think years ago would have super bothered me, but because consoles are so much more expensive than that now, it actually bothers me less.
Yeah.
But that's still...
consoles have always been pretty expensive, though, if you look at, inflation.
That's true,
too.
Yeah.
But it seems I think it's not unreasonable for what it is.
Yeah, no, I actually think it seems like a super reasonable price.
It's been shopped around and proven to work.
Yes.
Also, which is appealing.
They've certainly taken enough time to make sure it works.
Yeah. We need to see support for it, though.
Yeah, our second point about it that we can always make, which we're going to keep making because it's still relevant, is we need AAA titles.
We need games.
We have that.
Not just games, we need good games.
We have that Eve dogfight game.
Yep. Which looks cool.
Which looks really cool. We're excited for that, but we really need some more AAA support. And now that they have a release window, now the onus is really on the AAA publishers.
Yes.
To start announcing some stuff.
Because that I think is what's going to make or break this.
Do you think that, and this is us speculating, so be forewarned of that, but Dan, do you think that this release window was already announced some time ago to developers, and at E3 we might be seeing announcements for games?
I hope so.
I mean, that would be great, but
My answer, however, I will say I hope so, but my answer is probably not.
Probably not, yeah.
Unfortunately, that is probably not the case.
No.
But if it is, then that will be a very pleasant surprise.
And the only reason why I say that is just because E3 is coming up so soon.
Yeah.
So to announce the release window of the Oculus now seems like it could be related, but again, that's just speculation on my part.
We'll see. Speaking of whatever we're talking about next...
Yeah, what topic do you want to move to next?
We should talk about Sega, because we're talking a little bit about E3, so that segues.
Oh, so the last couple of weeks, we've had a lot of news about different companies getting their own booths at E3.
Well, their own conferences.
Oh, their own conferences.
They're going to have booths too, obviously, but their own conferences. Sega's not even going to have a booth.
Nope.
They're not gonna.
At a time when everyone else is expanding their presence at E3, Sega's bowing out.
Sega is curling back into their hermit shell with their Sonic the Hedgehog. So they say specifically that Sega of America will not have a booth and will instead focus on restructuring and relocation to Southern California.
Which is funny, because where is E3? Where does that take place?
It's in California.
I think it might be Southern California. Yeah. That's where that happens. So it seems a little weird that was their reasoning. So they were locating in San Francisco. Or they were located there. And they're going to move to, I guess, maybe like San Diego or LA or something. And they're going to be doing cuts. They're going to be doing firings to downsize.
What this means is that stuff that's in their court, like games that are on the way out that are in their court, we will probably not see at E3 in any capacity. Last year they showed off Alien Isolation, Sonic Boom, and Hatsune Miku Project Diva F2. Which of these games is the most Japanese, do you think?
Is it?
Alien Isolation.
It must be.
Their upcoming titles include Dengeki Bunko Fighting Climax, Total War Warhammer, and Tembo the Badass Elephant.
Ooh.
Tembo the Badass Elephant looks cool. I don't know if you saw anything.
I haven't. I'm going to have to look into that later.
It's by a lot of the Pokemon developers, actually.
Nice.
It's a side-scrolling action game where you play as like a Rambo elephant. It looks cool.
But
Total War Warhammer, that's a bummer.
And just the fact that, last year they announced, or they showed off, Alien Isolation and Sonic Boom. Now, one of those didn't do well.
I know, Alien Isolation was a huge disappointment.
So Sonic Boom didn't do too well, but Alien Isolation did, very well.
Yeah,
both in terms of sales and critical acclaim.
Yeah. I mean, actually, the Hatsune Miku game, for what it is, also did rather well.
Mm-hmm.
Because people who own PlayStation Vitas like Hatsune Miku. Ooh. So,
those Vitas.
That game was marketed exactly as it should have been. Mm-hmm. So for what it is, that game also performed really, really well. And Sonic Boom sold pretty well, even though it was terrible.
Horrible garbage.
It sold better than it ever deserved to.
Yeah, that's true. Didn't we do a story about how
it sold decently?
Yeah. But yeah, so that's why it's such a bummer and a little unexpected that they would bow out and that they would be relocating and doing all of these cuts.
Yeah.
Because they're not totally unsuccessful. They're they still have a good success ratio for their games.
I'm disappointed that it means we will not be seeing anything of Total War Warhammer at E3.
It's true.
I was hoping to see some gameplay.
I was really hoping for that as well.
Yeah. That's a bummer.
Because that cinematic trailer told us nothing.
It was pretty.
That was it.
What do we got next here? We have this Rockstar article that's in response to... all the Valve modding controversy.
This is an article from Destructoid from May 7th.
Yeah.
From 3:30 in the afternoon. Just to let you know. Rockstar released a statement about modding GTA 5 for the PC.
Yep.
Now, a lot of people, when GTA 5 came out for the PC, were extremely excited because they wanted to play all those sweet mods. I was just watching a mod video of a thing that turns all of your guns, instead of firing bullets, they fire cars going at the car's top speed.
That's awesome!
Especially when you take out the minigun and use that. Oh my god, it's the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
How to destroy your CPU in 2 easy steps.
It's, so yeah, mods are really fun. There's tons of really great ones.
You can drop whales on stuff, too.
You drop whales on stuff. But because of probably because of the Elder Scrolls modding debacle, people were a little concerned. Also because I think a lot of...
well, the other thing they mentioned is, this game has some persistent multiplayer stuff going on that you can take advantage of as well.
Yeah.
And they don't want people fucking with each other's games.
So the statement they released basically said, you can use mods to your heart's content, but only in single-player mode.
Yeah.
You can't use them in GTA Online.
They even said... They don't want... They basically say also, even if you're gonna use them in GTA Online, do whatever you want, but don't screw up the game for other people.
Yeah.
So you can use mods in GTA Online, and they won't relegate you to the cheater pool or anything, but they're gonna be watching And they don't want people using things that would mess up another person's experience.
Yeah.
Which is completely reasonable.
Yeah, like, Rockstar's being super cool about everything.
Yeah.
Like, that is the most reasonable, awesome statement they could have released about that.
Yeah.
So good on you, Rockstar.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I wanted to touch a little bit back on the modding thing from last week, too.
Oh, okay. What did you want to say about it?
Just because, I looked into it a little more and was reading some articles about it post our show last week.
Check out our show last week for all those details.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get back into it.
Where we yell at all the people who were being assholes about
the
whole situation. Those people were still being huge assholes. Mm-hmm. But after looking into it a bit more, I found some more stuff that supports, like, this was not a good idea at all. Mostly in the sense of, we were talking about how there was, like, the mod with property from another person's
yes, even though it had gone through the vetting process.
Yeah, exactly.
That Valve had set up.
The biggest thing I found is that this makes it so that if this were to have happened, it would have killed modding in a way that we didn't really consider, which is the sense that these people go on forums and share their work with each other actively and be like, what do you guys think of this mod? What do you think of this? What do you think of this? This would have killed that completely because you've suddenly got a situation where somebody goes and shows off their work to get it critiqued, and like 5 other people steal it and put it up for sale.
Mm-hmm.
So there were more things that I think we didn't really take into account as for why this was a bad idea, and I think we kind of had the same reaction that Valve did of saying, but they deserve to get paid for their work. This is a great idea. And then Valve was like, oh yeah, there's all these other problems with it too, though. And I just think we didn't touch on those problems a whole lot last week. So I wanted to bring that up and just kind of say, I still think it's a nice idea. I still think the people who were saying pretty much that all the mods should be free and they didn't deserve any money are jerks.
Yeah.
But looking into it more, I agree also that Valve should not have rolled that out the way they did.
All right.
When they did. Because they just dropped it on everybody, too. There should have been more testing the waters, that kind of thing. And I know Valve has said, like, we still want to try this in the future. I don't think they're gonna.
Well, I think they're gonna.
Was so negative.
Well, I think they're gonna with a different game.
Maybe, perhaps. Like they'd have to roll it out with a brand new game.
Yeah, that's what I think they're gonna do
from the very beginning. But anyway, just wanted to bring that up. And let's move on to this story about The Witcher 3.
This story is really interesting.
Yeah.
So this is an article from Polygon from May 7th. Green Man Gaming and CD Projekt Red in a public spat over sale of The Witcher 3 codes.
Yes.
For those who don't know, Witcher 3's release date is fast approaching.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be amazing. And your
really
computer won't be able to run it.
Nope.
Nope. 2 years from now, when you have a computer that can run it, you'll be able to play it and enjoy it.
You'll have a great time, I'm sure.
But a lot of places are selling game codes for like digital download stuff. Now, and some of them are having sales and things. And you know, it's like, I don't know, it's like a pre-order kind of. I guess that's like sort of what it is.
One place, Green Man Gaming, was selling the game for 35% off. As like a pre-sale thing?
Earlier this week, yeah.
But then someone from CD Projekt, I'm going to say it that way.
That's how it's pronounced,
Projekt, I can't say it. Red's business development manager, they went to the game's official forums telling consumers not to buy codes.
From Green Man Games, yeah. And this is interesting. It turns out that Green Man Games, these codes that they had, they did not buy from CD Projekt Red.
That's weird.
And CD Projekt Red is like, we were overseeing all of the sales of all of the codes.
Yeah.
So how did you get these? Because it turns out that the reason why CD Projekt Red went on and told people not to buy them was not because it had nothing to do with the % discount.
Yeah.
Although that may play a role in this, maybe. But
it was more, how did they get codes to sell?
How did they get codes to this? This doesn't make any sense.
Because CD Projekt had actively decided not to sell codes to them.
And part of the reason for that was because CD Projekt Red's parent company also owns Good Old Games.
Mm-hmm.
So what they had done was they were like, oh, well, we'll distribute the codes through Good Old Games, and then they made some contracts with some other people like Valve.
Yep.
Because, the really big distributors. But the idea with not going for Green Man Gaming is because Green Man Gaming is very similar to Good Old Games. And I think CD Projekt Red's rationale, as it's talked about in this article, is...
for one another.
Yeah, they're competition for one another, and CD Projekt Red gets to keep more of the profits if it's with Good Old Games because they're the same parent company.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, so that's it's shitty for Green Man Gaming, but that's tough business.
Yeah.
That's just sort of how it shook out.
Unfortunately, it's just kind of too bad for you.
And Green Man Games' defense of this seemed to mostly be that they had gone to CD Projekt Red and tried to convince them to allow them to sell this game on GMG. I'm going to start abbreviating stuff now. On GMG, and CD Projekt Red said no. And apparently GMG went to them repeatedly and tried to offer them sweet deals and incentive packages because they really wanted to sell this game.
Yeah.
And CD Projekt Red kept saying no. So what GMG did, as proposited by this Polygon article, and what seems to make the most sense to me, is they went to markets from other countries, probably Asian countries, South Pacific areas, and bought the codes from sites in those countries, and then sold them on GMG. And the reason, one of the reasons why Polygon believes this is because on GMG's site they had listed. The listing is not up anymore. It got taken down as soon as Projekt Red complained about it.
Yeah.
But what they had listed on there was that the distributor for the game was listed as Bandai Namco, which in certain Asian countries, CD Projekt Red's
they're
games,
the ones who do distribution.
Yep.
Right. Huh.
So it looks like they purchased these codes from other countries. Technically, it's not illegal, I don't think, to purchase codes from other countries or just from other places in general.
I mean, yeah. Well, once you
sell
buy it,
them.
you own it.
Yeah.
So,
one of their other rationale for it, why they thought it was probably smaller Asian countries that they'd gotten these codes from, is because the 35% off thing. If you had bought the codes from Projekt Red or even from another American or European site or company, the markup on them is so high that if you put it at 35% off, you'd be making a loss on selling the codes. Whereas if you buy them from some sketchy site in the Philippines, you're probably getting them cheap enough that you can still put it at that discount.
The seedy underbelly of PC game codes.
Yeah.
My goodness. So, this article has some speculation about why GMG did what they did. And it seems that there was a 6-month dialogue with the CEO of GMG said that after a 6-month dialogue with CD Projekt about the launch, they didn't want to give them any support as far as selling the game on their website. They chose not to engage. He says specifically, they chose not to engage with a number of significant, reputable, and successful retailers, including ourselves, as they instead focused on supporting their own platform, Good Old Games.
Which just sounds like...
How dare they?
Yeah, that sounds like the biggest crybaby I've ever heard.
Yeah, that's a really petty, thing to say. And it just doesn't make sense. It's rather than release their Mario game on the Xbox, Nintendo instead chose to stick to its own console. Yeah, of course they did.
Because they make it, they kind of get to decide those things.
And they make more money that way. That statement comes off as really, really... It sounds like a baby. Big baby.
Big babby.
Big baby. But Polygon seems to think that the reason they did this selling was not just to spite CD Projekt, and that it was more just to make money.
Yeah.
Of their own. They weren't doing it out of some personal, retribution.
Although when you hear that quote...
Yeah, when you hear that quote, I question that a little bit. Speaking about making profits for yourselves, guess who's profitable again?
Mario!
Yeah, but Nintendo, though.
Oh, okay.
And Mario. Mario's always profitable. So, Nintendo's consolidated financial results for the fiscal year of 2015 shows a profitable company. reversing a trend of losses dating back to 2012.
This is another article from Polygon from May 7th. Check it out. It breaks down a lot of the numbers. It's super interesting if you're into that kind of stuff. It also gives you a link to the PDF financial report. It's like a 15-page document that's super boring and dry, but if you want all the numbers, they're all there.
If you're into that. Their success is actually due to the weakening of the yen compared to the US dollar, since 75% of their sales came from outside of Japan. So the stronger currency gave them a really big boost. And I buy lots of crap from Japan, so I've been following the yen trending and all of that stuff, and I knew that Japan has been trying to weaken the yen for a while.
You and your weeaboo lifestyle.
It's so good. It's the life to live. I'm going to go home and play Hatsune Miku Project Diva F2 on my PlayStation Vita.
Then I'm going to polish all the
PVC
statues
anime women
in your glass kit display cases.
And a couple men.
There's a good number of men in there.
And robots.
And a lot of robots.
There's plenty of robots. But yeah, so this is cool, that this is showing an improvement for Nintendo, because I know the Japanese government was trying to do this because their country values export so much to make money, obviously, that they were like, oh god, the yen is so strong, what are we going to do? So they put this big initiative forward to weaken the yen compared to other foreign currencies, and it's been working. And it's been turning business around for them in big ways.
That strikes me as so funny that a country's like, oh my god, our currency is worth too much, we need to weaken it.
Well, yeah, because it was so strong.
It's too strong.
There was a period of time where it was 77 yen to the dollar. The yen was that much stronger than the dollar. A yen is a penny, basically. Mm-hmm. You can think about it. So it's their 77 cents was $1 of our money.
Oof.
It was bad. And they were like, we need to sell things to America, but no one wants to buy anything. Please help. And now it's back to about 120 yen to the dollar. Mm-hmm. So that's a big change.
Yeah, that is a big change.
And it's been stable around 120 yen to the dollar for about a year now. So they're doing good. And this will probably help Nintendo quite a bit going forward from here, too. If it already has helped them as much.
Do you want to talk about the breakdown of what made them money? A little bit.
Mention it a little bit.
I mean, it shouldn't surprise anyone.
Are a big thing.
Yeah, the Wii U had better sales, but it's still getting around to the third of the number of units that their handhelds
buy a
are
Wii U.
selling.
They're not expensive, and then buy Wonderful 101. Buy 2 copies of the Wonderful 101. It deserves it.
It deserves it. And what was the other thing? They had... Oh, and the fact that their predictions for this financial year...
they made their partnership with DNA.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Mobile games is one thing.
And we have another article on that we can mention after that. But their financial predictions for this year were pretty much spot on.
Yep.
Which is always a good sign that they just know what they're talking about. Sure. So I guess this sort of reinforces the fact that Nintendo dominates the handheld market, even though they keep releasing more... DSs. People just keep buying them.
I want to get the 4DS.
It's obviously a sound strategy, so they're just going to keep doing that.
You can play games in a different time span. People are going to get it a week early.
I'm going to get rid of this, get rid of that, no one cares about that.
I want to talk about that.
It's very rumory, though.
I know, but I still want to talk about it.
Okay, well, we also have... in terms of Nintendo's partnership with DNA for mobile platforms, they announced, was it during their Direct?
I believe so. I didn't actually watch this Direct.
I mean, I assume the screen grab is from a Direct.
You got Iwata going, hello everyone!
On a white background.
So it's probably from a Direct. So he's looking way better.
He is looking way better.
Like he's making a full recovery. He's got rosy cheeks again.
So they announced that they're going to release approximately
5 phone games by March 2017. And none of their IPs are off limits.
But they reinforced one of the things that they had been hinting at earlier, which is they're not going to do ports.
Yes.
Because they think that would be a waste of potential.
Yes.
Which is kind of fair, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that, so we're going to see, I don't know, it's like a Mario-themed Farmville game. Something like that.
By Mushroom Kingdom. Yay!
Or like a Flappy Bird Mario, then the assets of the pipes will actually make sense.
You're right.
Or no, it could be Yoshi, because he has that thing where he becomes constipated and boosts higher into the air.
You're right.
That would actually be a game that would make perfect sense.
Let's just go with that.
Yeah,
they should Mario just give him the wing cap.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Would work too.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you want Yoshi as your main character? Yoshi doesn't sell units.
Never.
Yoshi's garbage.
That's never happened.
He's
before.
garbage. Everybody, please look forward to Yoshi's Woolly World.
It looks adorable.
It does. So yeah, I mean, we've had all this news about Nintendo moving into the smart device market, and they've now given us like a decree of this is what we're going to do. Look forward to them. And they've said they're focusing a lot on the quality of the games because they know this is already a really competitive market. So it's like, if we make not a really good game, then why would you waste your time with it?
Well, what's interesting is when you see companies take that, because a lot of iOS games are very simply made.
Yes.
Going back to Flappy Bird, or even Angry Birds.
And you see so many that are like card battle games, because that's simple to program and get an interface going for and everything on a phone. Especially with the touch screen and all that.
But we have also seen plenty of examples of when a company puts a lot of work, a lot of time and effort into making a very polished iOS game.
Yeah.
It will do very well for them. And to go back to card battle games, Hearthstone.
Yep.
So that was obviously a game that was designed very much with tablets and phones in mind. So yeah, I think that if Nintendo takes their development chops that have been proven time and time again to be very good, and really gears games towards a phone environment and puts a lot of polish into them, we could see some really great phone games out of them.
Sure.
So I'm excited about that, yeah.
Me too.
What else do we...
they had a big direct about Splatoon.
But no one cares about Splatoon.
It's basically just clarifying what's going to be available on launch, what's going to be coming up after that. And yeah, I still just don't really care much about Splatoon. So we had talked about a leak a while back for a new Tony Hawk game, where the caterer, this Tony Hawk game. It's been officially announced and revealed. It's Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5.
It's just called Pro Skater 5.
Pro Skater 5. I don't mind that, though.
No, that's fine.
Did anybody really like Tony Hawk's Underground
or
Tony Hawk's Project 8? Or any of that other stuff more than just the regular Pro Skater series? I don't think so. So, I mean, maybe this game will have all that same fun of those old ones.
Well, in their press release, and again, this is a story that broke on May 5th.
Yeah.
In their press release, they talk about how... Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 represents, quote, a return to the classic gameplay of the series' heyday. So...
It also includes power-ups.
And the ability to shoot projectiles for specific missions, which sounds kind of goofy, but also fun.
The projectiles better just be like cheeseburgers. Where you, ride around throwing cheeseburgers into fat people's mouths.
That would be great.
That's very in the spirit of the game.
It totally is.
That would be fine. I don't want him to be flying around shooting. I don't want a shmup to happen now.
Skateboard shmup.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, when we look back at the original Pro Skater games, they had a silly side to them.
They're fun. I like those games, and they had fun couch competition modes and everything where you play with your friends, like playing horse, where one of you would do a big trick, and then the other would have to do an equally big trick, or they got the letter. That would be fun. Mm-hmm. And you could change the word; it didn't have to be horse, so you could have to be like butt face. Oh, you're the butt face.
That was fun.
If we just get that kind of game back, I'm totally fine with that. I'm actually interested in that.
And I think that the studio realizes that, because by saying the fact that they want to return to classic gameplay means they're just they look at the past titles and they're like, oh, people like the past titles, we should just make one that's exactly like that.
Just give me a bunch of different levels with tons of weird secret areas to get to, all the tricks to do, a character creator so I can make a giant man baby. And I'll be a happy person.
Listen, if Yooka-Laylee is teaching us anything, it's that if you got a good formula, just frickin' stick with it.
Seriously. I mean, after Pro Skater 4, a lot of the Tony Hawk games didn't really do as well. Mm-hmm. Underground and Underground 2 were fine, but everything after that just was like, ugh. It's just, they weren't good.
Unless you're Harmonix, in which case you just pump out sequel after sequel and never change it. The trick is to get that formula, get it right, and then make one every, 5 years.
Yeah.
And it'll sell great, and everyone will love it, and it'll be fine.
But that's not financially viable, Lex. DLC, season passes.
$100. Batman, Batgirl.
Batgirl.
Racing minigame.
You don't want Batman? Are you the Joker? This is one that I want to talk about because this game is very near and dear to my heart.
Last story.
Let's
end this.
There was
a little news leak that it was last updated this afternoon, but when did it first scroll down?
Yeah. Original story. We still don't know if it's totally real, but screenshots and a very short and now private video clip suggest that Sony might be prepping for a medieval revival.
Yesterday, May 7th.
Yes. And medieval, for anyone who doesn't know, which is a lot of people whenever I bring this game series up.
I don't know how people don't know about the series.
PlayStation 1 game, you play as a little skeleton man. His name was Sir Dan. It had a special place in my heart. But it was a really fun action platformer with a really goofy sense of humor and kind of a whole gothic horror style to it. Great game. Probably one of my favorite games, actually. And it got a sequel on the PS1. They had a remake of it on the PSP that I did not like because it kind of gutted the charm of the original game.
That's too bad.
And then Sir Dan was put into PlayStation All-Stars, only to have the reaction of, who is this guy? Who's this character that we don't know? Why is he fighting Nathan Drake? Which was very sad. But, so this was a potential, there might be more medieval. But as it goes on, it kind of suggesting that these things may be fake.
Okay, so there was a guy that posted on Twitter screenshots of a new medieval game, and they looked very polished and fairly real. Yeah. And apparently the Destructoid people were giving him... They thought it was real partly because the screenshots looked good, and partially because this guy was the one who originally leaked Shadow of the Colossus back in the day. Yeah. So they thought, maybe this guy knows what's up. Then...
the person who leaked the photos, they tried to contact them, and they said, don't worry, Destructoid guy, the truth this Sunday. Yeah. So, it's still unclear if this is anything, or just, a hoax.
Yeah, check out this article on Destructoid, because it's being updated. It's already gotten a couple updates where they've flopped back and forth between, this isn't real, oh, maybe it is, oh, maybe it's not. Yeah. So we don't really know for sure yet, but I guess we'll know by Sunday.
All I'll say is my hope for this, I hope it is back, and I hope it's like the first two. I'll be very sad if it does come back, and it's the overdone... It'd take too long to explain what's wrong with the remake of it on PSP, but suffice to say, if you want to check out this game series, I highly recommend it. You can get the first one on the PlayStation Network for $10. It's totally worth it. So check it out, and you'll see what I mean. It's got a really good sense of humor. It's a very charming little game. Don't bother with the PSP remake, because it doesn't really give you anything better than the PS1 version does. And it kind of messes up the comedy. But, yeah, that's something near and dear to me, and I hope that something good happens with it. But nothing good probably will. That's depressing. What games are coming out?
Let's see, what's the date today? It's the 8th. Nothing's coming out today, but tomorrow...
Oh, the terrible Attack on Titan game.
That's coming out for 3DS on the 12th.
Hooray!
Final Fantasy X and X-2 HD Remaster coming out on PS4 and PSN. Yep. Also on the 12th. Invisible Inc., which is a really interesting tactical turn-based spy espionage game. That. Yeah. That looks like fun, and that's coming out Windows, Mac, and Linux on the 12th as well. Yep.
Galactic Civilizations 3.
Coming out on the 14th. Yeah, that does look cool. They've been trying to get me to pre-order that forever, and the whole time I was like, no, I don't like to pre-order or not pre-order. Do the test. You play the beta on Steam.
Oh yeah.
But they've been trying to get me to pay for that. I'm like, I'm not playing full retail for a game that's not done. I just won't do it.
Stick to your guns, man.
But what else? Oh, Lifeless Planet is coming out for the Xbone.
I still kind of want to play that.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
We talked about that in one of our first podcasts.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
that's about that. We've been Don't Copy That Floppy.
I've been Lex.
I've been Dan. We'll see you next week. Same old place, chipbit.net on Chipbit Radio.
Follow us on social media.
Yeah,
we're
Facebook,
on
Twitter, YouTube, iTunes, Steam. Where can they find us on all those places?
We are called Don't Copy That Floppy on all of those places, except for Twitter, which we are at DCTF Podcast.
But it's still us, we promise.
It's really us. It's not a bot.
And we'll be back next week, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, to talk about more video game news. So until then, remember, don't copy that floppy. Copy that floppy. Copy that floppy.